Hello everyone, hello again. Welcome to our second class. Guys, we are starting. Please pay attention to our next topic. So we are moving forward and now we basically will start programming because that was just example of Hello World program without any understanding and without any algorithms. And now we will try to jump into that understanding how computer works and what computer use to make some useful work for us. And that very first subject is variables and data types and also input-output. Okay, but before we start talking about variables, let me explain a little bit what happened when we basically when we create program in our Java development environment, and then we run it somehow. So what is happening under the hood? So first of all, we create in some text editor, we create our program. So this is just text file, okay? Text file with Java code. This is not the end, this is just the start. So what happened next? This is Java compiler come into this scene. So all of you guys, you should know, you should understand, you should become familiar with this term, compiler. Compile. What compiler does? Compiler take text, which is just, it is just text, it is not program still yet for computer, maybe for humans, but for computer, this is just bunch of text. So compiler take this text, and with these inner algorithms, because compilers, this is very sophisticated programs, and that programs could, what they could do? They could understand all this text and transfer the text into inner format for the computer. Because computer could not understand us. Okay, today we have ChatGPT and we think that computer really could understand something, but in reality, computers could not understand any text, any phrases, even Java code. And what computer need? Computer need its inner format. This is exactly what we get after compiler. This is word compile. So compiler, and the result of compiler, of course, on this picture you could see everything, but I still ask you, what do you think, what's the result of compiler? What that mean?
Well, this is your program you wrote translated into a computer language which computer can actually understand.
Yes, computer language, yeah, exactly. Some machine code, we call it. So in a minute, I will explain you different languages and different approaches into that, how computer understands our code and what different formats could be present. But in Java case, we have as a result bytecode. This is what we call bytecode. Bytecode, this is inner format for, we could say for computer, but not so precisely so. This is code for Java virtual machine. Have you heard this term, Java virtual machine? Yeah. So Java virtual machine, what is that? Why do we need that virtual machine? What that mean? Okay, let's start from the term machine. How we understand machine in computer world? What do you think? What is machine in computer world? This is it. Just your computer. We call it machine. So general people do not call computers machines, but computer scientists do call in such a way. Machine. We call computer machine. So, and now we have virtual machine. Why do we need that? What that mean, virtual machine? Because Java, this is basically Java invention, Java know-how. This is idea, this is advantage of Java, that Java has Java virtual machine. Why? because we have such systems like operating systems like Linux, like Windows. Like what other operating systems do you know? Mac OS,
A lot of Linux versions.
many Linux branches. So what that means? That every of that systems need its own machine code. And that means that if I want to program for Linux, I should take specific development environment, specific language, specific compiler, and get this specific machine code. For Windows, I need to do the same, just but for Windows. For Mac, the same, just but for Mac. And for IoT, for example, some devices the same. So what Java developers decided to do? They said, okay, let's create abstract machine. And then we will create additional version of Java virtual machine for every operating system. But we will get just one type of program and put the same program, the same bytecode program, the same virtual machine code program in any of that operating systems, and that will work. Why? Because on every of these systems we have virtual machine. And this virtual machine accepts bytecode, not machine code, but bytecode, and translate that into machine code for processors, for operating systems of that. And that's why we get, what do we get? We get one more term, cross-platform software development. Cross-platform. We create one code, we create one program, and this program could be executed for any operating systems. Do you think it is a good idea or not? What do you think? Huh? Awesome idea. Why? Why do you think it is a good idea?
Because programmer just don't need to create every different type of application for every different type of operating system, and
So we reduce what?
reduce our just work
Amount of work, right? Economically, what do we reduce also?
time.
Time, expenses, we should pay for programmers for that work. So it is more economically benefit. Yeah.
Also bugs, also some money.
Yeah, less bugs because this is one process, not different processes. So it is. So cross-platform technologies. This is not only with Java, but with different other technologies. This has some bunch of advantages. Do you think there are some not only pros but also cons, some disadvantages of this approach? What do you think? What disadvantages of this approach?
Maybe you need more powerful machine for running this virtual machine.
For running this, yeah? Because we could understand, we have one more piece of software which should work. And we would like that this piece of software work performant, quick, and maybe we need more resources, or our programs could be not so performant. Yeah? Yes. This is another part of the another side of this deal, that performance or additional resources or so on. Yeah, any other ideas?
I want to say about memory, so performance memory.
Memory, more machine resources. Yeah, exactly.
Memory in the operating system, we cannot control exact amount of memory which program is using in exact operating system, because we just
Yeah, so there are some tricks with memory and resources. I agree with that. Okay, the interesting, it is off topic, but interesting, think about it. Why then guys from Android have chosen Java for the mobile development? Could you imagine what is mobile development? What is the difference between mobile development and desktop development? What have more resources, more computing resources? This or this? Computer has more. So we have limited resources here, but we decided to have all this stuff on mobile devices. hey, Android developers, what have you done? Why did you do it for the world? But this is it, and still, it just saying us that there are many approaches how to make still this approach very quick, because still Android programs, for now, they are quick, they are okay from the point of view of performance, memory, all this compilation process. There are all that problems overcome. So, but it is interesting that this technology was taken for this approach. And even more, all of that is pretty much working very well on IoT devices. So, I mean, in this world, we could optimize many things. And this was done with this approach. Let me share with you full picture. Basically, even this picture is not full, because there are several branches of how all of that works. But for you to understand that differences between different languages. So we are talking about Java. With so when we run our application, we should have interpreter or virtual machine we could put in this block. This is virtual machine, and we have bytecode. Bytecode is unknown for operating system and processor, but interpreter creates machine code and it's been run. But what we use to create our program, we use our text editor, IntelliJ IDEA. We create our source code. We run it with compiler, and result of compiler is a bytecode, which is some abstract machine code. And then we run this abstract machine code in virtual machine. And this is not only Java's approach. So what Microsoft done, they saw, oh, good approach, cross-platform. We want to share our technologies on different platforms, not only Windows. We created .NET technology. .NET and C# language. And this is what we have, Java, C#. Kotlin is basically modern version of Java with less verbose, let's say, more simplified. For example, another technology, Dart, which I personally admire. So all of that have something similar to this process. What else do we have? Let's take more classic, more canonical approach how people created programs which use C, C++, more modern Rust, Go. Again, Dart could be here also. What difference here? All the same, but after compilers executed, we have machine language, it says on this diagram, or machine code. And we directly run this machine code on operating system. You see the difference. So this is the difference. When we create programs in this way, then we could run this program only on this specific target operating system. And if we want to create this program for another system, we need to recompile and to compile that for another system, or even create new program. And we have also totally different approach. When we have text editor, we have source code, and we have no compiler. We have no compiler. We just creating source code, and when we want to deploy this program which been created, when we want to deploy that on some machine, to go into operational mode, let's say, this is development mode, this is operational mode, we just transfer what? Source code. Try to transfer Java code to any machine. You will not execute that. This is just not impossible. You should transfer bytecode. But with these languages, you could just transfer source code. Just your Python program, or JavaScript program, or PHP, or Ruby program. And what happened in this case? On that operating system, we should have also, it called interpreter here, but it is totally different programs. This is virtual machine, and this is really interpreter. And that interpreter compile this code on the fly, on the fly create machine code and run that code on the fly. So guys, just taking this moment, let me ask you, what do you think, what advantages and disadvantages, for example, of this approach?
It's much easier for one computer to execute.
Much easier for one computer to execute. I need more explanations.
So if you want to write code for a specific operating system, it doesn't have to go through bytecode and compiler.
Yeah, so it is more cross-platform approach, you mean? Yeah, I agree with you. Yes.
And maybe it takes less time to analyze it.
Could you repeat, please? I didn't
It
get it.
takes less time for,
Less time. Less time for whom?
for,
And less time for what?
for the computer to like
For the computer.
yeah.
Why less time? You need, just imagine that this person do not understand source code. This person need interpreter. And you can, have you ever listened to some guy who been interpreted? You know, how you calculate that speech length? How you calculate that? It is just x2 because this guy says, and interpreter repeat that in another language. So we need x2 time to process the message. So I'm not sure if we have less time for that. Okay? What advantages you think more here? No advantages. Oh, this Python, this JavaScript, PHP, oh, come on.
Less time for person to create code.
Yes, it is more easy development process, development environment. Just create code and take this code and run it. So exactly, from the perspective of deployment, when you have system and you need to change something, you just replace maybe one file because you just need to put that source code artifact, not binary code, not byte code, not machine code. So this is a bit just easier from human perspective, from developer perspective. Yes, exactly. And so the other side is, again, performance maybe, and so on and so forth. However, again, as in this case, we also have many optimizations on this side, and all that code is quite performant, and so on and so forth. I see some questions maybe in chat. Let me see that. Okay, some technical messages here. Okay. This is just a few words about your overall understanding. And I just want you to understand that compiler is an important word in our world of programming. Compiler, you should know this word. Okay. Now, let's move to variables. Variables everywhere. In the world of programming, first, which you start from, this is variables. Let me try to explain why. For example, we have this code without variables, just strict values. For example, what I want to have here. I want that my program greet me and says me what is my age. For example, I decided let my age be 17. For example, I create program for guys and girls who are just 17 years old, and that's why I want to greet them and says that you're 17, your birth year, and now I try to calculate, use some machine power. I want to calculate your birth year. I want, for example, to calculate how much money will you have after buying a burger. So let's assume your pocket money is 500 hryvnias, burger price is 1 to 5, and after buying a burger, you will have. So I use computer calculation, which is good. Should I calculate that in my mind? I use computer for that. But how flexible is this program? For example, I want to have the same calculations for guys who are 18 or 25 or 14 years old. And what should I do to change this program for people who are 20 years old. What should I do? Tell me. Yes. Yes, that's of course a correct answer. But if I have no variables, what should I do with this tag? I have to change here, right? Put here 20. Then I put here, should put 20 here. And the same with other values, like pocket money, like price of the burger. So my program at this moment is not flexible. I agree. But if I, behind that values, if I create just variable, and then in some place I just change the variable, algorithms will still work. And take a look at this program with variables. So I introduce all these variables. So first, age 17. I could easily change that and my program will work. Moreover, I calculate current year. I do not hard code that this is 2024, but I take this year from my operating system. Then I calculate here birth year. So I use again variable, and I calculate this birth year from current year and age. And again, my another variables regarding pocket money, burger price, and I do the same. So my output in this program will be absolutely the same, but I will very easily change this program, okay, using variables. Basically, if you see, the second program is have more lines. So we could assume, oh, this program is worse because it's more text, it's more complex. But in reality, my program become more flexible. My variables become reusable because I could use the same name everywhere. Easier to update. I just update in one place, and that updates will go to all the program. And clarity. For example, what means, I don't know, 17 here? Yeah, we understand from the context, but if I have many formulas in my program, at some moment I could just forget what that 17 means. But what do we see here? By the way, I'm not using just name A or just X or W. I use 3 letters, 3 symbols. I'm struggling. This is my pain. I should put my keyboard 3 times, but I will win because later when I come back to my program, I could easily read, oh, age. I read this line, oh, this age, or this birth year, this is burger price. So please, guys, let's take just quick lesson from simple program. Use meaningful names of the variables, okay? Not only I, L, K, W, X, Y, and so on. Use age, current year. And by the way, when we want to put words in our variable name or function name or class name, we use this, what we call camel case. So when we have one word, one second word starting, there are snake case. We could use underline, for example, in Python, we could do that. But in Java, we use camel case and we use like first word from the letter space, letter word, letter. Oh my goodness, my English should be advanced. So, and then big capital letter. This is what we call camel case. So combine words in such a way and use meaningful names for your variables. By the way, for class names, we have this Pascal case when we start from capital and continue also with capital. This is for class names, but for variables, we use camel case. This is just convention, but your programs will look well if you use that conventions. Okay, so let me come back to this and visualize. What is variable? Variable is a place in the memory, some place in the memory, and you could put in this place anything. So you give name to this place, and you access value in this place by name this value. So this we call value. Value of the variable, this is name of the variable. So in our program, we could call variable by name. Call variable by name, like here, for example, current year minus age. And we do not think, oh, what exact value in that variable? We should not know. We don't need to know that. We just creating this algorithm which use abstract names, age, and so on. We use that in formulas, and our program will be what? Flexible. Flexible for different values of that variables. Do you understand that? Okay. Any questions regarding variable? Okay. Next question regarding variables. Next question is what types of this memory cell do we have? Can we put into this box any subject, any value, or we have some strict rules? So, for example, we have organizer in our maybe room or store, and we decided that in this place this is just sport tools. In this place we have just game balls, some basketball, some football. In this place we have some clothes, and this place we have maybe computers, for example. And we could not break the rules. This part only for computers, this part only for play balls. So will it work with Java variables? Yeah. Yes. Okay, do you know languages where it is not required? Again, Python. So that dynamic languages which work through interpreter, they more flexible in this case, and they are ready to accept any type of variables, any type of value to the variable, because they are dynamic. They're not compiled into precompiled code and so on, into machine code. They're more dynamic, and that's why it is possible not to have these rules. But Java, C, C++, C#, and so on and so forth, all that static typed languages, this we call static languages, they have strict requirement about what exact data type should be put in this variable. So again, for example, in left column, you see dynamic languages, dynamic type languages. PHP, for example, when we create variable age, I don't mention any type here. JavaScript, this is just name for variable without mentioning any type. Python, the same. But when we have statically typed languages, Rust, for example, we type that this is integer with 32 bytes. And C++, we just put that this is integer. Java, this is integer. Just you see the same because Java is C++, like C++ подібний. How to call it? Huh? Variation. Okay, let it be something like that. Yeah, it is. I need more to advance my vocabulary for sure. Okay, guys. So variable creation and usage. I'm sorry for this typo. So we first of all we declare variable, and this is something I want you again to mention in your notebooks or somewhere. When we create variable, there are two terms which you should know, and you will use that kind of in your head every time you program. Declaration of variable, this is first process, and second process, initialization of the variable. So I could declare, first of all, that I have this box in my memory and I could put something there. But when I declare, it is still nothing in this box. And when I first put value in that box, we call that initialization. So I put 17 here. And I could say my variable is initialized at this moment. This we call initialization. But we could create, declare variable and initialize in one line. So we see this example. We create variable because this is data type of the variable, and then we assign value to that variable. So in one line, we initialize, not only declare the variable. Okay? Please know these terms. Why should we pay attention to that? Because you can't use variable without declaration that variable. If you didn't declare variable age, if you didn't declare that variable, you have no this line in your code, you can't access this cell because this cell is not exist. And if you add this line of code in your program, then compilers will come to you and says, hey, what are you doing? What is age? I don't know what is age. This is error in your program because you haven't declared. You should declare first, and then you could use that. Not only that, if you declare the variable, you already have this variable. System out println. Do you remember that short version of that? So just imagine that in your head. You could not output age because age is null. Age is not initialized. You could not take value from that variable because this variable have no any value. You created cell, that's fine, but there is nothing here. How could you take value from nothing? So that's why you did take this into in your head. Declaration, initialization, usage. Okay, what data types in Java do we have? And you should understand that we have two branches of different data types. First branch, this is more simple, like primitive data types. It is called in such a way, primitive data types. What that mean? Primitive data type means that this data type is just created in memory and we just use this data type by itself. We have non-primitive data type or reference data types. And this is something more complicated. And I will not explain that in full power at this moment. But reference data types, they are more dynamic, more complex, more like they could change and so on and so forth. That's why we have specific parts of memory where we put reference variables and we could get a lot of memory for that variable. But then we have like this cell, we have just address or reference, let's say. Reference to this piece of memory. We still have the name, we work the same way, but internally it's organized in another way. C++ is fully like reference-oriented, let's say, languages with pointers, reference pointers. This is just the same. And it is kind of, I really feel the pain, those students who start their programming, learning from C++. And there is sometimes happens in our universities, and it is quite hard to work with these pointers from the very beginning. But later you will definitely should jump into the subject, and you will. Okay, what different types of on primitive part do we have? We have Boolean. What is Boolean, guys? True or false? Yeah, true or false. Okay. What it remind you? Maybe from that videos you already saw. Yeah.
Maybe it's like float. I don't know.
Okay. What else?
It's like a question that has only two answers, yes or no.
Yeah, only two answers. Yeah, yes or no. Okay, what else?
Ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros. Yeah, this is all this matrix, all this ones and zeros, all this computer science based on ones and zeros. Exactly. All that intelligence built in computer come into very beginning to ones and zeros. And Boolean reflect that approach. Just two answers, yes or not. And starting from this very basic bit of information, we could have either 0 here or either 1. This is false, this is true. And by the way, Boolean have only one bit of information. Take memory, only one bit. Of course, I should ask you, do you know what is bit? You have these lectures and you will, someone already observed them, someone, the rest of you will just jump into maybe Friday to that lectures. But do you know what is bit? Yeah. Bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's one section in computer memory that has either 0 in it or a 1.
Yeah. What is byte then? 8 bits. Yeah, exactly. And so on and so forth. So playing with these bits, we could emulate any value, starting from very basic data type like Boolean, 0, let's call it false, 1, let's call it true. And then we could develop that, adding more and more bits, and we could have numbers. Then through numbers, we could have, for example, symbols like text letters, and we could code our text with that numbers. With numbers, we could code also images, like every pixel have some value, RGB, for example. Then we could create videos and so on and so forth. So, but everything starting from this very basic stuff. This is Boolean. Okay. What is char? Someone who didn't answer. Yeah, symbol or letter. Yeah, exactly. What do you think how char is working?
By translating bits into numbers into.
Yes. Yeah.
We have like
ASCII. Yeah.
ASCII, or some another library, and it just translates.
Yeah. We just agreed that let agree that letter A will have this. I don't know number. I don't remember. I remember that 13 is for enter, and escape. I think 27. This is something I remember still. So and so on. So we just with people, humans, they agreed. We will use these numbers, and this number for us that will be A. And computer just show substituting that number with some symbol. This is how char and text coding works in computers. Okay, byte. You see this type, exact type in Java, byte. What that mean? What do we code with this byte? Yeah, please. How many what? Yeah, we have 8 bits, of course, because we understand that byte. But for what kind of data do we use this exact type? For what? For small data, okay. But what exact data? Yes. Numbers, yeah. So, of course, don't be, byte is a byte, but in Java, just when we call variable of data type byte, that used for integer. You see, integer could be byte, short, int, long, ціле число. So byte, this is some integer, but more short because only 1 byte. And then we have more bytes, and even long with even more bytes of information just to code number. And then we have float. What is float? What is float for?
For smallest numbers. With
Decimal. Yeah. This is decimal. If previous is for integer, ціле число, then it float for decimal з плаваючою точкою. Да? Тобто decimal we call it. Okay. Double is just bigger decimal number. And this is non-primitive. The only thing we're interested in is string. What is string in data types? Someone who never asked it. Okay, let's start.
It's like a group of characters.
Yeah, group of characters. Yeah, this is just kind of text information. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's move on. Just a little bit more and then we make a break. Yes.
My 2 cents. If you could go back to the previous slide.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to point out that I don't know, maybe it's just because we are at the basics yet, but technically it is better not to put these capitalized Boolean character, integer, and float into the primitive category because they themselves are not primitive; they are just wrappers around the primitive, the lowercase Boolean char and like just for people not to be confused later.
Yes, this is very good point. Maybe at this moment quite hard to explain what that means. But the idea is here, this is just diagram to show branches. But we don't, at this point, we don't use this capital Boolean or capital integer and so on because that wrappers. And we basically use this blue one names. But here also Boolean we see. So this is Java world, guys. We will back to this subject later. This is wrappers, the class wrappers around primitive variables. Why they did it, that Java inventors, we will talk about that a bit later. Okay, yeah, thank you for that mentioning. Okay, operation with numbers, just very quickly. Of course, you know what is multiplication, what is division. Of course, you know all of that. I just want to mention some interesting stuff like, for example, we have two integer values, a with value 10 and b with value 20. When I try to divide a by b, what value should I have in mathematical world? In mathematical? A half, yeah? 0.5. But here, because of this is integer value, so this is not this decimal value, right? I will get integer value as a result. What is integer value of 0.5? This is 0. All this decimal part just truncated, and we have just 0. So just pay attention to that. Be careful. If you want to divide and if you want to have decimal result, use double or float instead. Yeah. You wanted to add something? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And maybe, yes.
If in A will be for A, not in A, but change to for A.
Yeah. Then we will, good question. One of variables of float, yeah, but another is integer. Yeah, as I remember, we will have double as a result in this case. At least one variable should be double. But you could try it, and in our task, in our, you will, maybe for someone that would be challenge. I ask you to demonstrate some functionality. You will see this word in my assignments very often, demonstrate. What that mean? This is, I would like to ask you to play, to research, to be like person who bought some device and now trying to research and push every button and try every case, not afraid of errors, mistakes, because this is just software, this is not hardware. So soft errors, not a problem for us. So when you demonstrate, this is, you could try and see what results will we have in this case, in this case, in this case. And in such a way, when you, by your hands, you tried every, like a piece of code, this is how you build your knowledge. This is how you build your skills. Because again, let me step back and share with you the philosophy of how we study here. I heard it maybe somewhere on television or radio. I really like this approach. I heard that Japanese, they have this philosophy of their education, and they tell such a way. I know what I can do. One more time. I know, I gain knowledge, I have knowledge, I skilled with knowledge only in that case if I can do it. Do you see? So instead we could have these approaches when I know when I memorized. I know when I got, bless you, when I got theoretical knowledge. That's why I know. No. In programming, you know when you try to do it by your own hands. Do you see? Okay? So that's why it is so important, and come back to this word demonstrate. Please try to do it by your own hands. Try to do it by your skills, by your practical, and only after that you could say, I know it, I understood that, when you program that. Okay, one more operator. This is we see percentage, but this is reminder. So do you understand what is reminder in English? Yeah. Yeah. So here, 5 divided by 3, reminder of that is 2. So this is one more. Sometimes it is useful for some algorithms. Okay, some additional information. You should know, you should become familiar with this very interesting stuff in programming, which we call increment and decrement. This is specifically C++ style of operators. What that mean? When I use this in my program I++, then after this line, this I variable will be incremented by 1. So this is the same if I wrote I equals I plus 1. So I assign this new value to this, the same variable. So I could do it more quickly. This is what guys who invented C++ and ++, by the way. You could just see these images here, symbols. And I could just write this code, and it is a little bit more beautiful than this code. But the essence is just the same, okay? This is incrementation or decrementation. I minus minus, I equals I minus 1, okay? You understand that? Super. And what else? Again, back to world of C and C++. As you see, there are very big fans of short forms of writing something. And this is also x plus equals 3. What that means? This is just the same if you write x equals x plus 3. You see? So the short form of that, just I take out, oh, this is the same color, okay. I take out this variable, I take this operator and put it here. And I get x plus equals 3. From mathematical perspective, this is full garbage, but from C++, Java, C#, and all C-style languages, this is very beautiful and quick operation, yes. Very similar, yeah. So we have this C++ styled, maybe this word which I just forgot, C++ styled languages. So C++ influenced many languages, and Java is one of the languages which C++ influenced. That's why we have this increment, decrement. That's why we have these brackets. You will know about a little bit later about that. All of that influence of C++. Yeah, exactly. So you could use plus equals, then multiply equals. So any short version of that operation with the same variable could be done by this shorter C-styled version. And what else? So some more interesting stuff. Here, just few minutes more. What should you understand? Equality. If you want to check if variables equal, if value of that variables equal, you use equal mark. Please pay attention to that. Who programmed it on, with Pascal in your life? Just 2 people? 3 people? Okay, fine. 4 people? Okay. So why Pascal use that tricky assignment operation? So if I want to put value into variable, what do I use? This one. This is assignment. I put in my box named x, I put value of 5. After that operation, I will have 5 in this box, in this variable. In C, in Java, in other languages, we just use, as in mathematics, we assign, but basically in mathematics, this is not assignment. This is just, I don't know, declaration or something. But here, we assign value to this variable. But the problem begins when you put algorithms and you want to check if that value in that variables, and in our hat, in our mathematical hat, we just want to use the same. If x equals 5. And for us, this is like condition. But in C, in Java, this is not condition. This is what? This is assignment. After this operation, we will put 5 into x. This is not what we want to do. If we want to put condition, if we want to check, again, in Pascal, we could use this, and that would be condition, because assignment is another operator. But here, how to go from that situation? We use if x equals 5. This is what you need to remember. This is the source of many bugs and many problems in programmers' life. Because you so often just forget to put one more equal into condition. And when you don't do that, you always will have true in this operation, for example, in C++, and the algorithmic problem starts from here. So, as you see, Boolean result. This is complicated line, I could assume, but result of this operation, because this is logical operation. Logical operation has what type? What result of logical operation? You already know this data type, Boolean. Yes. So result of that will be Boolean, and we put this Boolean here, okay? So x equals 5, yes or no? A is it true, A is it false? And we will put this result here, but I want to just emphasize that 2 equals if you want to check something. Not equal. Again, maybe you saw many memes on this regarding that. This exclamation mark in programming means just one word. No. Or not. Not equals. If x not equals 5. So this is pretty easy to remember. By the way, in other languages, it could be, if I'm not mistaken, in Pascal, it is something like that. Yes? Yeah, but here we have this logical operation. And of course, more or less, and more or equal. So you should just know this. Maybe this is more complex, more advanced subject, but you should know that sometimes you need to transfer value from variable of one type to a variable with another type. And we call it typecasting. And you see this example. So for example, we have this implicit casting from int to double. So you have 5 in integer, and now you have 5 in double. Basically, nothing changed. The value is the same, but the value is integer. This is integer, but double is double. So we saw this example with division, for example. So it is, sometimes we just need double. Basically, you can't assign variables of different types, but because of this number, because of integer, could be implicitly casted to double, it is possible. This example is more interesting. You have double first, and you want to transfer value from double variable to integer value, integer variable. But integer value variable has no decimal part. So that's why when you cast it and you see the syntax how to do that, you put like type which you want to transfer to that variable into brackets, and you get basically this value without decimal part. This interesting experiment, you could do that by yourself, but please remember this syntax. Before the variable, you put into brackets another type, and if it's possible to cast to this type, if there is no errors, because compiler will help you here, you could cast types in such a way. Sometimes, not so often, but you need that. So this is type casting. But I will move forward, and now this is my favorite part in this lecture. Hopefully, we could like make some brain exercises now. So let's move to Boolean type, which Gabriel already told us. What is that? True or false? And let's think about these types. So for example, age 17, and we could introduce variable is adult and assign value with this formula. If age is more or equal to 18, then is adult will be true, but because of here we have 17, we get false here. Or for example, is child. If value is less than 14, then it is child. By the way, it is false here, so it is mistake. Good point that this value is not less than 14. So the child is, I don't know why you put true there, so it is maybe yeah, so I remember 14 because when we bought in train tickets, then a child have this line like 14, starting from 14 tickets on train, you pay full price for that. Before that, so that's why I took 14, but my understanding of Boolean operation not very good at this slide. Let's move forward. That become more complicated. We could combine different conditions. So, and we could make operation with that conditions. It is something like plus and minus in math with integers, but it is logical operations. So I could have some logical expression of Boolean, A, for example. I could combine two logical conditions. So for example, I don't know, you want to enter AUK. You should implement two conditions. For example, your English level should be B2 and your NMT test should be high enough. So you have this A condition and B condition. So when we combine these two conditions, we get result. Will you enter AUK or not? So tell me now, which values we should have in this condition to fulfill our aim to enter the UK? Which value, how much, yeah. Huh? Yes, here we have and. I just used plus from the math, but more precisely and. But what values of A and B should be to enter the UK?
It's value B2 English level and
B2, yeah. So okay, let's call it is B2 to make it more understandable for us, more comprehensive, and is high NMT. Okay, because I want you to consider these values as Boolean. Okay, in this case, to enter the UK is B2. Which value should have? True. Because it is Boolean, right? Do you have B2? You answer either yes or no. You answer yes. That's why which value of this variable? True, right? And which value of B variable should we have? Also true. So is these two values are true, then we get, as a result, true. We enter the UK. This is how we make logical operations. Let me play this game further. If my value of is B2 false, will I enter the UK? That's why false and true will be what? False. When you combine with AND logical operation true and false, you get false. Okay. And vice versa. If I have B2 true, for example, but my NMT is low and I have false here, again, I get false here. You understand that, right? And of course, if my B2 is low, is absent, and is NMT is low, I have false here and false here. False and false equals what? False. You understand that? This is logical operation AND. But we also have another logical operation, OR. I don't know what example to take for OR, but let's imagine that AUK could accept students either with B2 or with high NMT. Yaroslav, you stop record. Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay, so we want to check your English level, and we, for example, have two methods to do that. Either Duolingo. Oh. Or IELTS. So you either have this correct value, enough score here, or you have this certificate, yeah, or something like that. Or, so let's play this game. If I have both Duolingo and IELTS, will my level of English enough to enter the UK? True. If I have only one, will it be enough? True. So when we have OR here, then when one of the variables is true, then we still have true. Do you see the difference between AND and OR? Very basic, very, living, very real, something we use in real life on everyday basis. But now we want to formalize that, want to understand that from computer perspective. Fine. So, of course, if I have false here and false here, false or false, result false. You understand that? Super. So you see that marks like AND, we have two ampersands. This is AND Some languages have AND as an operator. You type AND in English to make logical operation. Most of the C++ style languages as the AND logical operator have these two ampersands. I hope you find this button on your keyboard, because not something which general people use every day, but programmers use a lot this ampersand. So you should know where this keyboard button. The same with OR. This is logical operator for OR. Again, Pascal, for example, use OR as an English word, but C++ style languages use these two lines. And you also could find that somewhere above your return or enter, something somewhere here, there. Enter. And of something somewhere here, there. And of course, you already know this exclamation mark. What that mean? Not. Yes. So if I write this, what result will I have? Not false, true. If I write not true, false. You understand that? Okay. Yes.
And you can actually write and or, but it's a bit longer to do that.
Yeah. So Java support that. Yeah. Yes. Maybe. So if you know, you know.
C++ is 100% supports.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But so because we programmers and we like geeks use all that symbols, we will use symbols. Okay. Now, I want you to think, and let's consider one more example. Imagine you deciding whether go for a walk, and you only want to go for a walk if the weather is nice and you have no homework. And let me introduce two variables, or even three variables. Is weather is nice, or is weather nice, has homework. And go for a walk, I have this formula. Meditate on this formula. Do you understand that? Quite tricky for people, but when you know what that means, it is comprehensive, quite understandable. Is weather is nice? It could be true, it could be false. We don't know. We write a program, we write an algorithm. We write a flexible program. So yes, here we have values, but these values we could change them. Okay? Is weather nice and not has homework? And let's try different variation, different options. For example, weather nice, false. False and something. What the result of that? False and something, always false. We even don't need to see if we have homework, okay? Okay, for example, is weather is nice, true. Then we have this and not has homework. So if homework equals true here and true here, what result? False, because true and not true is false. False and true equals false. This is how it works. You understand that? Okay. Now, interesting example, and I will ask you to maybe play a little bit with in the group, take one computer and think a little bit. What I was wondering when I've been in Britain many, many times, and you know this, in Britain, it is so often raining. They even, their weather applications, they're very precise. They even know in which time exactly they will have rain. Their weather service works very well. What was interesting for us, that we planned on some Saturday, we planned picnic. And from the very morning, very early morning, it was raining. But it wasn't any obstacle for them. We decided to go on a picnic. And in Britain, if you decided, you do that. Otherwise, you will not go to picnic all the year, because raining so often. And we just went, we sit to the bus and we go to the picnic under the rain, make sandwiches and played some sport games, and it was raining all the day. My goodness, that was really funny picnic. It never happens in Ukraine, do you agree? If raining, come on, who will go to picnic when raining? No, never. That's why, let's try to think this logical task. We have such conditions. Is Britain, do we in Britain now or not? This is first condition. A, is it true or false? Second condition, is it Saturday or not? Okay, because we decided to go to picnic only on Saturday. Next, is it raining or not? And I want you to calculate is time for picnic. Give me false or true. You will change these variables with different values. And I want from you a formula when I could decide, will I go to picnic now or not? Depending on that variables. Do you understand the task? Okay? So open IntelliJ IDEA, create the project, introduce in main method these variables, assign some values to that variables, and just output is time for picnic. Guys, take a look to my screen. What will you have? You have something like this. I will try to do bigger font. So we introduced variables, then we assign value to these variables. Of course, we could do it here, assigning the values. Then we have this variable time for picnic. And this is the most important. You need to write logic expression here. For example, is Saturday and I don't know, raining. I'm writing some garbage here, but to give you a understanding. So, and then you get value in this variable, is time for picnic. After that, you just output this value here. The most important question is this logical expression. Which logical expression should we put here to get correct algorithm? This is the task. Some of you already done it. Some of you in the process. You already done. Yeah. Okay. Just waiting a bit for the others. Try to work a little bit more. When you have logical expression, try different values. Is Britain true? Is Britain false? Is Saturday true? Is Saturday false? Is raining true? Is raining false? Try different, sure that your algorithm works correctly. This is what we call testing, quality assurance. Test your program. Be sure that your program is working correctly. Okay, I will wait a few more minutes and then we will see the results. If possible, as I already asked that group, maybe you could also to Zoom by the link, and then I ask you to share your screen and we will see that all together. You could find the Zoom link in Canvas in the very top, like Zoom link. You could just connect yourself now. So guys who are online, guys who are here, we will share your screen and you will explain the results. Few groups. Because now I saw two different solutions for the problem, and they are both correct, and that's interesting. Okay, making selfie with you guys. I want to take you into the, but okay. Okay, now let's see the results. Could you please share your screen? Amazing. By the way, I will even give you microphone for online auditory, but try to be more loud for your friends here.
Okay, so we made such scene, such code, we declared and initialized in just one line. So I think with this one is everything okay. So Boolean is written, and we can put here true or false, and our program is still working. So as picnic, we have the following logic. If it's Saturday, like the main one, if it's true, we'll go for a picnic. If it's false, we won't. So just like that. And also is Britain. So if is Britain, we also go for picnic. But we do not have here is raining, because doesn't matter if it's raining true or false, because if it's Britain, we will go on picnic for sure. So that's why. But if the is Britain is false, it means that we are in Ukraine. So if it's raining, we won't go for a picnic. So is raining must be false, so not raining. And in this way, it works. For instance, if is Britain is true, so is Britain.
Do you see the screen? Is font is enough? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it,
So if is Britain is true, but for instance, okay, let's make Saturday false. False. And after that, we run our program. It will provide us false because it's not Saturday. But for instance, if it provides Saturday, let it be true. After that is Britain false. So we are in Ukraine, and after that we run the program. We will have is Britain false. It's raining true, and we don't go for a picnic because it means that we are in Ukraine, and is Britain false, but it's raining. Raining is true, so we don't go for a picnic. But if we put here false, this, okay, 1 minute. How to? And this we found. Okay, and we run our program. We will have true because raining is false, so it's not raining, and it's not Britain, it's Ukraine. So it's working in any conditions, so just like that.
yes, yes, thank you very much. So do you have questions to this team? Okay, so could you please share your option? Yes, and please take a mic also. A lot of devices, sorry for that, but this is hybrid mode.
Yeah. So we made it a little bit simpler because if the Britain is true, we might not take the rain into consideration. So we put Saturday first because it's mandatory, and without that, nothing will work. So the Saturday is like an obligatory thing, and then first we consider the country. So if the Britain is true, we this statement in the brackets will be true, and everything will work. But if the Britain is false, we check the second statement, which is there any rain outside of the Britain? And if it's yes, so if there is true, then is not raining is false, and basically it will fail. So okay, let's try it. The Saturday is true by default because without that nothing will work. Then let's consider the Britain false. Yeah. And the rain true. So the Britain is false. We're outside of the Britain, so we consider the rain, which is true. And by all the laws of the logic, it should give us false. So let's run that. How do I run it? Okay. So yeah, it gave us false. So we cannot go out on the picnic. But for example, we are in Britain. We make that true. And it is true because it is Saturday and it is Britain and the rain doesn't matter to us. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, fine. Thank you very much. So as you see, both variants is correct. Second variant is a little bit more concise. And as you see, different formula could give us the same results. So both of the formulas correct because they are logically correct. So this is the main thing is that your logic should be correct. But we could rebuild our logic in such a way that we have different results. So in that second variant, in the first condition was, is it Saturday? Because it is not Saturday, there is no sense to check anything else. And this is exactly how Java works. It checks the first condition. If first condition is enough to calculate all the logic, it stops and will not even calculate the rest. So if it's Saturday, if true, then it makes sense to check another part of condition. And then we play this game. Is it Britain? Is it not raining? And so on. Also more concise, but you already saw it. Okay. Let me jump into strings. You still need to have concentrated minds because we need a little bit more work, but we are finishing in I don't know, half of an hour. Strings is a very important part of any program because strings could decode text information. And for people, because we write in programs for people, and people could read just text, not numbers, not binary.
People in the chat asking if you could share this.
Oh, thank you. Sure. Let me share my screen, guys. Yes. So that's why strings is so important because we could put text there. When we talk about strings, so you already see the logic of this lecture. With integers, we could multiply, divide, have a reminder, and so on. With logical expressions, we could use and, or, not. What can we use with strings? The main operation with strings, and maybe this is one more new word in your vocabulary, is concatenation. Please remember that. We don't say that summarize string, make plus string. No, we concatenate string. Concatenation, this is how we combine strings together. This called concatenation. It is pretty easy in Java, just plus. In different languages, it could be different operator. For example, in PHP, to concatenate strings, we use dot operator. Interesting, but this is it. So in Java language, we just, again, as with integers, with numbers, we use plus. What else should I explain about strings? Strings seems like primitive, but basically this is not primitive type. This is reference type. But it is not really fully functional reference types. This is something in between. I don't want to explain you, but basically this is immutable objects, immutable reference type in Java. What should you know? Why should you know that? Because when I want to compare two integers, integer 1, integer 2, and let me introduce Boolean variable equal, and the value to this variable will be the heart of this expression, equality between two integers. I want to check if integer 1 equals integer 2. But I can't do that with strings. We do not do that with strings because strings is reference type, and if you compare two reference types, you basically compare address, not the value. You remember that reference types, they reference some part in the memory, and we want to compare that parts in the memory, not these addresses to the memory, because that make no any sense. How to compare strings then? Okay, as a strings is a class or object, how can I introduce objects? How can I not talk about object-oriented programming in Java? We will have this topic much more later, but I should mention that now. What that means, that string value, string, variable, you could use again dot operator, which now means accessor operator. You access some inner parts of this object. And you could access that part and have different methods, different functionality of the string. And one of the functionality what we need, what we're talking about, equals. I call specific method which will check if my current string equals to some other string. My goodness, it is really hard to explain now without mentioning objects. But guys, try hard to understand that. For example, I have another string. Let it be string variable 1 and string variable 2. And string variable 1, John. And string variable 2, for example, John without H, with mistake, with typo, John. And I want to check if that two strings is equal. So I put name of the string into brackets, string variable 1. And results of this operation will be Boolean, true or false. The same like with integers, but more complicated verbose phrase. But idea is just the same. So here I have Boolean operator, Boolean variable. Let it be B. So tell me please, which value will I have in this variable after this line?
False.
False. The variable will be false. If I have John and John there, the variable will have value true. So you have this complicated line, but try to understand that. This is how we use strings, and we do not compare strings like string value equals another string value. Be careful with that.
Can I compare like equal help with uppercase and lowercase? John with
Good question. This is different strings. So uppercase and lowercase here means different values. That's why we really will have false. Yeah, good question. Okay. So again, we want to know how many symbols. For example, John have 1, 2, 3, 4 symbols. So the length of string value 1 is 4. How to know that? Variable dot length, and I get the value. This is about strings. We have much more string methods. Please watch the videos. Please read the materials, readings. But it is quite interesting stuff. For example, uppercase, lowercase. You could use this method to get another string, and all letters will be in the uppercase after this operator. So I could call string to uppercase, just call this method, and put this value into another string. And I get another string. Again, contains, does it string contains some symbols? We could search through the string by this method. Start with, you could understand that, start with these symbols. Index of, in which position we could find this symbol or string. Substring, replace, stream, when we want, we enter login, for example, and mistakenly put some spaces, and we don't need that spaces, and we call before comparing strings, we call trim operator, we delete that spaces, and we get actual content. So, and so on and so forth, many methods in a string. I would ask you to make experiments, to try to demonstrate that in your assignment. And finally, we should mention input, output. Before this moment, everything we done, we just output. We put something into console. Our program will become more and more interesting if we, as end users, could input something in our program. How to do that? This program is demonstrating that. So, first of all, on the very top of your basic program, you put this import Java util scanner. Why? Because later you won't use scanner. Okay, what is scanner? What all of that stuff means? Okay, scanner, what do scan? Scanner scans. Scanner will scan input information and put that input information into some variables. That's why we need to use that specific service of our Java machine. So we create scanner in such a way, new scanner, and we put this specific parameter here into scanner that we want to read our console. System.in. This is how it is. Then, for example, I'm print, hey, what is your name? And now my program will be able to get information from me. How to do that? I introduce new variable, name, and then call this in next line. What is in? In is this stuff. We created scanner variable of type scanner, and this variable has these functions, these methods, this functionality. I'm calling this next line, and my program will wait to type something in console, and so on and so forth. So let me maybe show you how it works. Let it be this. By the way, we have comments in Java, and when I use command or control in Windows and slash, I could, with one click or one button push, I could comment all the code. What means comment? Comments, this is something which compiler don't pay attention at all. Comments don't exist. Comments do not exist for compiler. This is just information for myself, for programmer. Compiler will not take comments. So I want to unclass code. This code I don't need at the moment. So I will run this. Zoom don't allows me to push the button. Yes, this is it. Okay, I have some One more time. Yeah, this is artifacts from previous program. I don't even need that. I don't know why. File. Okay. Hey, what is your name? You see this information. I could type. How old are you? Okay. 17. What program do you study on? Okay. Hello, your age is 17 years. Your program is basic AI. So how I get these results? This is how I get these results. Scanner, get my name here, put that name into variable, then put another value. You see, here I put string value, but here I put integer value. Please pay attention to that. This is in case when you want string value, this is another when you want integer value. We use different methods of scanner. Here, next line, this is a string. Here, next int, next integer. But when I use next integer, then I also should read next line. This is a stupid trick, but we need to do that in Java. Yeah, you have something.
Back to Java. If it reads the enters in the integer, and it reads it in the next line, so you just put nothing.
Yeah, because our reading buffer will be filled by one more enter, which we just clicked or pushed. And if we read something else, like here, that enter will go to this variable speciality, which we don't need. I don't consider that as a bug, but from the user experience, as a programmer user experience, it is quite not comfortable. But you just need to know that if you have these problems, just if you read integer at this specific to consume one more enter, just to consume that, and only after that read another line. And we read speciality here in this line. Yeah, this is how it works. Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, I have one question to ask.
Yes.
Like, here's the first line in the line number 7. What does it mean?
Okay, thank you for this wonderful question. So again, I should jump into object-oriented programming here. So let me explain it again. By the way, guys, it is I really like this this and this how to say that, I forgot the word. So this interest that you have, you really need to understand every letter in this program. That good approach. Let me start from the very beginning. First of all, this. What is this? You say me. You tell me. This is not the method. Okay. Let me even broke this this part of the line further. What is this? Yes, it is class, but in terms of what we studied today. Almost, but not the verb. Type of the variable, exactly. So first of all, this is the type of the variable. Next, what is this? Variable name, exactly.
Like an input?
Huh?
Like an input.
Yeah, like a input, that's why we use in. Here, you could use anything. You could just basically use, this is your name of the variable. You could call it how you want. We call it in for like input, yes. Then hard part starting here, because this is not what we learned today. This is something which we should know. Let me explain it to you. So when we create objects, because we had primitive types, integer, we didn't use new for that. But when we create non-primitive types, reference types, objects, we create them with operator new. What happened when you call new? Some place in the memory been created to store value of this variable with reference to that. That's why we call new. After that, we use class name, as you said, because this is not only data type as a class. So we create new object of the class scanner. And we put into that object specific parameter. This is too much information for today, guys. If you don't understand this line, this is not the problem, okay? This is not the problem. This is just template, use that. But it is good to understand. So we put this argument here, and after that, after this line, new object of scanner been created, and reference to this object been put into variable in. New object been created, scanner with specific parameters. It is in the memory, and my in variable ready to use this part of memory by calling specific methods. This is exactly what we will do later. Variable in, method next line, and so on and so forth. Okay, makes sense? Okay, any other questions?
Like, do one more. I wrote this first line of code in my program, and it becomes an error. Like, I used to the previous project to and delete all the DI that I don't need, and then write this one, and it becomes red like a whole one.
You mean this one? What exactly? Scanner?
Yeah, like the 7th line.
So do not forget to use this import. To use scanner, you should import that scanner. So compiler will know what is scanner basically, what this programmer want to create, and we tell, oh, scanner is placed here and all information. By the way, guys, I press command button and click. I click to the scanner and I get Java code and implementation of this scanner. Welcome. You see, not so just 3,000 lines of code for our scanner. You could do that with everything you see in Java. You could get source code and you could jump into that source code and to see how it works. It is good by Java. By the way, in IntelliJ if you click, IntelliJ could ask you, do you want to download source codes? Say yes and download that. And you will get this wonderful results. So maybe your error was because you haven't this import Java util scanner.
Yeah,
this is my quick reflection. Okay. Good question. So in Java, every program should be placed in some package. What is package? You could consider package as a folder. You have folders in your computer. You could put something in one folder, another folder, another folder. You could create hierarchy of folders. And you just in Java, you should mention what exact package you placed your. Basically, I obligated to use the same name as this folder name. And I should mention that I mean that I placed in this folder. Exactly. Moreover, you could create new packages. And this is something I explain in my Loom video in Canvas, but I could show you quickly. New package. Where is that? Yeah, I saw it. It was somewhere. Yeah, package. And here you have this interface. Package 2, for example. You could split your assignments into packages. So it is more easy to organize your working space, your source code. I create new package. Now I have this folder here. Now I create new Java class. I could call it again main. And you see, I have two classes main, but they will not contradict each other because they placed in different packages. So we separate namespaces here. And I have another main. I put main method here. And I say package number 2. I run current file. You see current file. I run current file. And I see package 2 information. So I know that this file is working. So I have two packages now. In your assignments, you could have different topics. You could split your assignment into packages and work independently with different parts of your program and not be mistaken and messed up with your source code. So use packages. Good question regarding packages. Okay, any other questions? Let's move. Let's try to finish this lecture. So this is input output, and I will ask you, and I believe this is so interesting because you become kind of, I don't know, program with user interface, program which could chat with you and which could speak with you, communicate. You could enter something, you could calculate something, you could output something. That's why input-output topic is so important. Please play with that in your assignment. Debug. I will not bother you with this subject, but we have debug in our additional materials. Now I will just quickly show you how it works, and maybe will not explain in very much details. So let me take maybe picnic code. Boolean. Delete this. Okay. Looks correct. How to use debug and why do we need debug? Because if you have huge algorithm and you see logical error, for example, you see true, false, and you get another not correct value, and you see where is the problem? So my code is compiled, my code is but logically incorrect. How to fix that? I put breakpoint. You see, I just click into line number. This is breakpoint, and then I click debug. You see this bug here, and I click this button. What happened after that? Compiler, Java environment ran it and stopped in this line. And now I could have full information about current snapshot of my program. So I know every variable value. You see, is Britain false? Is Saturday true? Is raining true? I see all this information. And then I could go step by step. So I click this step over button. And this line was executed. And I see information. It's time for picnic. I see it is false. So I could run through my program step by step. And sometimes it is so huge for debugging. When you have more bigger program, you have some bug, and you could just executing step by step, and you could research your program, research values of your variables. So you should know that. Please pay attention to that. And again, research, play, and demonstrate in your work. Now I stop my debug by clicking this red button, and my debug is stopped. And I could delete this breakpoint also. Okay. Classwork. Okay, we will not run classwork for today because you already done a little bit and I'm satisfied with your classwork, but please play with input, output information, which is quite important. Now, basically, that's it. Do you have any questions to me? So,
force. I don't understand.
This one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I like your curiosity, guys. This is a good question. Okay, let's come back to understanding of operating systems. When in operating system, for example, to run Git, I have, let me open terminal, and for example, or even how we move through our operating system. So change directory, change directory, or choose directory now. So I just call cd and some parameter here. This is parameter, 2 dots. I could choose lc. This is a list of my folder. This is the list, Java template, ZT100 tests, untitled. And then I could choose cd and SDT100. So this is parameter. This is program cd, and this is parameter. And I run it, and I'm already in directory SDT100. So idea of operating systems and programs inside the operating system is such that you run the program and then you put parameters. When you create your program in Java, it is ready to get that parameters. For example, you want to run your program and to, from the outer world, put some parameters like this one. And all of that parameters, I could even, for example, any program, let's say, I could put different parameters, one parameter, second parameter, third parameter. All of these parameters will come to this array. Welcome to the world of programming. What is array? One more concept. So this is like bunch of strings, let's say. All of these parameters will come to this string array. So here in your assignments, in our programs here, we will not use this outer world parameters, but theoretically, you could need that. And that's why main method has this kind of signature, we call it signature, this kind of parameters that you could put something not only into your function, into your inner program components, but your all the program, some parameters. Does it make sense? Okay, super. Any other questions? We will go through the course from the lecture number 2. Take all the course. Okay, welcome to the lecture about methods. So, but nevertheless, yes, args is a name for, you know what is data type and what is variable, right? So consider this like a variable. This is data type, correct? And this is variable name. This is it. So your args are bunch of strings. And you could use your args inside your program. You could access args, first parameter, and you could do something with this. I don't know what problem was. Yes, of course I need to put it somewhere, but nevertheless, so I could access args by just calling it by name. This is the idea. Any other deep questions? Okay. I like this curiosity. Well done, guys.